Did Ushio hold back, or did she just hit one barrier? That's the big question mark that I have with this episode. Episode 22 of Summertime Render. Things are definitely ramping up for the series. I know that nobody out there really thought that that was it. Like, yeah, we're just going to finish off this entire story with episode 22. By the way, we tricked you. It's actually, that was the ending. Or we have the 3 episodes after story stuff, which I'm perfectly fine with. I love after story stuff. I would, with how long this series is, being 25 episodes, I would really love at least a half an episode of after story if things, don't wrap up with everybody dying. I don't know. It could happen. I'm not going to leave it out of the realm of possibility, but yeah, great episode. Really did ramp things up, honestly. Now, again, my joke about it not being the ending is honestly, I knew it wasn't going to be the end because we haven't addressed the fact that Shide is using Hiroko. If we haven't got to that point yet, then there's no point in it all wrapping up. Unless it's like after stories. Man, we never did find out what Shide's plan was. Oh yeah, we didn't, huh? Oh well, festival. Like, nobody cares. They just like shrug and walk away. No, we still have to get into Shide. We obviously still have to get into what his plans are. And yes, to confront Hiroko, to pretty much what I'm expecting is them to save Hiroko. I think in the end, what's going to happen is we're going to have Hiroko get saved. And the way that they're going to save her is by making her realize that this is all Shide's plan, basically. But no, opening up the episode, I loved it. It's so good. They just did this attack, and yeah, Shide's figuring out that, man, I'm not regrowing this mud. It's been erased. And additionally, all the strays have been taken out. Ushio has evolved even more so. Whatever her hair hits, whatever she strikes, is essentially hacking it and destroying the shadow itself. And yeah, Ushio's going straight at him. They're talking behind, in their minds about how, she's going to do this attack and I might lose my armor, but at least I'll be able to take out Ushio. And then, yeah, that's when Mio pops up, timeout, pulls her back, gives her the plan, and she's like, oh, that's genius. And yeah, that's when Shinpei goes to reset himself, uses his foresight to be able to see that he's going to get his hand shot. I think that was probably their misstep right there, is like that was way too early that they revealed that card, because up until this point they did not know that he had Renosuke inside of him. At that point right there, it revealed to Shide and Hiroko that he has that ability. But no, it was really cool because when he went to, he's like, did you not know where I was at, or do you know where I came from? And I thought right there it was going to be revealing, how they can't sense where he's at, which that did technically reveal it. But that was an indication of where they came from, which was a cave. That's going to be the reset point they're going to. And it was interesting because the moment that he pulled the trigger, I'm thinking, oh, I know what they're doing. They're going to make 2 Ushios. Because they said at the very beginning right here, they were afraid there being 2 Ushios. But in fact, all he did was basically move the memories into this next Ushio. But technically right here, what I thought their plan was is to make 2 Ushios. If they grab her, reset, go back out there again, they can grab another Ushio, and then they have 2 Ushios. So that wasn't their plan, apparently. Their plan was to basically go through the cave, get to the point where they're just at her doorstep, and then go out and get Ushio, reset back to that point, and go straight for the attack. Really cool idea. I mean, my idea is cooler because you get 2 Ushios, but that idea is cool too. We can go with that idea too. Now, I do remember the shell disappeared the moment they transfer back, so that might have been an indication that you cannot have 2 Ushios. Like, it's an impossibility, but still, there might be a possible point in which they're going into this cave, and then we'll have a second Ushio show up. But we'll have to wait and see. But yes, we had the trope. We had to do this trope. We're going towards the final boss, so we have to have the, I'll take care of this, go on ahead. I'll take care of this point, you guys go on ahead. The whole thing where every time you go towards the last boss, you have to have everybody split off. Like, oh, I'll handle this. Here, I'll hold back this one monster for the next 20 minutes. Like, just take it out. But yeah, Tokoko stays behind, Nezu stays behind. Thankfully, that's the only 2 they did. I was going to get really annoyed if, like, suddenly Shadow Mio's like, go on ahead. And then So's like, go on ahead. And then suddenly Tetsu shows up out of nowhere and says, hey guys, I'm here too, go on ahead. But now this is an interesting comment because as they're going towards here, you have Shide and Hiroko's over here and they're trying to rush back to home base basically. And at some point, Shide says, after all these years, nobody has ever broken through that barrier. Now the assumption here is they're talking about this wall of Hiroko. They're saying that these walls that are blocking them is basically Hiroko's body and that barrier's blocking them. But why would Shide say that? when it's Hiroko's body. This is something that even Ushio herself can't override. It was reverse hacking her. So they decided to have Mio basically make all these fireworks appear and blow them up. And then eventually they get all the way in there. And then we have this whole fight happen. And then Ushio punches the shadow on the wall. Now, yes, the assumption is that Ushio held back. Mio says that. Mio's like, goodbye, Shinpei. Like, we're done. Mother's gone. That means that we're gone. But nobody disappears. And then Mio says, Ushio held back. And yeah, that's the indication you get, because when Ushio is going to attack, Hiroko is yelling out, saying, no, stop. And then she gets a brief glimpse of, I forget what her name is, the teacher. The teacher saying that your hands are for holding hands, not for harming people. And she, again, it implies that she did not hit hard enough. But what if what she hit was what Shide was talking about? He put a barrier up there. Nobody's been able to break that barrier before. If he's talking about the barriers back here that they took out with fireworks, then that's just dumb, because they talked about how the military's come down there before. They attacked down there. What I think it is going to be is a barrier that's currently blocking Hiroko's real shadow. That's my theory that's going to happen. Because yes, all this stuff kind of unfolds. It even looks like Shide himself, or at least some of the, one of the katakiris is upset about this. Like, we're done. We failed. I failed. Gets taken out. But then there was the other one. The other one still remained. So I'm thinking one of them was that barrier, and the other one was the Shide that still remains. The fight itself was really cool too. I wasn't like crazy cool animation or anything like that, just mainly Ushio flying around with this hair flipping around. But it was a cool fight, like, overall, because it's really it's a battle of foresight. And so you have this back and forth between the two of them. How do you win? The only thing you can really do is stop the eyes. Well, for the case of their enemy, Shide doesn't see it. He gets whatever Hiroko gives him. So you have to stop Hiroko. How do you stop Hiroko? Well, she can see everybody that's shadows. So while Mio's trying to stop her, can't work. So can. So I was happy to finally see that So was able to pull off something. Finally, So was useful. So that's great. But yeah, it was a cool fight. The only other thing that I didn't mention is I'm curious what's happening at the surface. Now, what we might end up finding out here soon is that the massacre is still happening. At some point, when Shinpei is sort of laying out his plan, he mentions the idea that they're trying to get their attention even though they're down here. Like, yes, we've snuck in and everything, but we do technically still want them to know that we're down here, because we want to draw their attention from the festival, because if they don't, the massacre will still happen. So they purposely drew them in there while they were going after Hiroko. I guess the hope was that they would just make it there first. But what happens up at the surface is you have this point in which Katakiri pretends that he's got a stomach issue and he goes and runs off. And then the shadow Shinpei, or Hiroko, taps one of the ladies on the shoulder and said, I leave it up to you, or something like that. So it's almost as if that shrine lady was a shadow, and she was basically saying, handle the situation. Like, either, yes, handle the festival, or start the process. Start taking stuff out. I'll be curious to see if what we end up finding out is, as they're down there, we're probably going to still have one more reset, because what they're going to find out is that up at the surface, she's consuming stuff. And that's probably why they're going to survive the situation, if it wasn't a shield that Shide put up, but in fact, Haine or Hiroko is still consuming the stuff from up there, so her plan is going through. But we'll have to wait and see. That's episode 22 of Summertime Render. I hope you guys enjoyed my impressions as always. If you did, make sure to hit that like button down below, comment, let me know what you thought of the episode. Did I miss anything? Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, we have a Patreon link, a tips link, and a super thanks button down below. I greatly appreciate everybody that supports us, and y'all take care.